Welcome back. The second Republican presidential debate is on tonight on Fox Business. Wisconsin Congressman and chairman of the Select Committee on China, Mike Gallagher, is calling on the candidates to make China a key issue. In an op-ed for the Orange County Register, Gallagher writes this: the Republican presidential nomination must properly frame the conflict in terms of the American people can understand. President Biden may call this a strategic competition, but let's be clear. The battle with the Chinese Communist Party is not a polite tennis match. This is a fight that will define the 21st century. Joining me right now is the man himself, Wisconsin Congressman, chairman of the House Select Committee on China, Mike Gallagher. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Happy to be with you.
So Nikki Haley was good on China when she was the UN ambassador. Do you think the candidates up there understand the issues that you're referring to?
I think there's a shared view that our top geopolitical threat is China, and a contrast implicitly with the Biden administration, which views our top geopolitical threat to be climate change. But beyond that, we haven't really gotten into the differences. I know there are different views on that stage on key issues like how and whether we should defend Taiwan, how we should put controls on outbound capital flows to China, and whether and how we should ban TikTok. So I think it's fair for the moderators to get into that issue. But given that it's at the Reagan Library, the most important thing for the candidates, if they want to pass the commander-in-chief test, is simply to talk about the threat that the CCP poses in clear, unapologetic, Reagan-esque terms, and also communicate a sense of optimism to the American people that we can win, that we deserve to win, because we are the good guys.
Yeah, I mean, Congressman Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, has told me that now communist China is inside the gates of America. They've had so many smart strategies in terms of infiltrating our business, stealing our technology and our intellectual property. I want to get your take on how tough it is to reverse that at this point. I mean, the strategies are even paying people of influence. We had the story this morning that we've been talking about where Hunter Biden was sent $250,000 or $260,000 from his Chinese partners, and it was sent, the beneficiary was Joe Biden's home, his Delaware home. So, I mean, is this president compromised? Will we ever really get any real movement from President Biden, given all of the money your colleagues told us that they've accepted as a family?
Well, first, I would salute the oversight work that James Comer has already done to unearth a lot of what we didn't know prior to this. And I think hammers home the importance of having control of the House, having subpoena power, and doing basic oversight. Will there ever be justice? It's important to understand how weak the laws we have in this area are, and these laws must be reformed. Particularly our Foreign Agent Registration Act laws are rife with loopholes, and they're constantly exploited by foreign powers, especially China, in order to corrupt our domestic institutions. So one thing we need to do in this Congress is to reform our Foreign Agent Registration Act laws before it's too late, before the CCP continues to weaponize the D.C. swamp against us. As for the broader problem, whether they're inside the gates, Pompeo is right, but we have no choice but to protect our domestic institutions before it's too late, because if they continue to corrupt those institutions, if they continue to gain coercive economic leverage over us, everyone's going to be forced to act like the NBA or Hollywood and afraid to anger China because of the economic power that they have.
And they have corrupted corporate America. They want to sell, companies today want to sell to 1.4 billion people in China, and they know if they go against the CCP, they could get retaliation. So facing criticism from House Republicans, Ford has decided to pause the construction of a $1 billion EV plant in Michigan. That involves a Chinese battery company. A spokesperson telling Fox Business that they're pausing this work until they're confident about the ability to operate this plant. Tell me about this story in terms of what you know about it, and is this one of those strategies that the CCP has used to infiltrate American business?
Well, I took the Select Committee to Detroit and met with Ford specifically for this reason, in order to communicate concerns about their deal with a massive Chinese battery company called CATL. And really, I think the concern is that Ford was going to use Inflation Reduction Act dollars to do a massive partnership with a Chinese battery company and thereby make that battery company more dominant, which is completely absurd and I think illustrates the problem with our broader energy policy policy under the Biden administration, this rushed, subsidized transition to electric vehicles, which is that we're surrendering what is one of our greatest advantages relative to China in this competition, our energy abundance, and making ourselves more dependent on China going forward. And I fear Ford's deal would have been a big part of that, which is why I'm glad they paused it. They should cancel it completely. But right now we have an energy strategy that looks as if it's been written by Xi Jinping himself, and we need to step away from that crazy ledge before it's too late.
And the CCP has also had its way in terms of having American investors invest in Chinese companies, which of course ends up funding the expansion of the CCP. You've written about this a lot. You've talked about this so much. I want to ask you about these thousands of notorious and unregulated Chinese companies that are listed only on the domestic exchanges, the so-called A-shares, but they are included in American ETFs, exchange-traded funds and funds of Vanguard and BlackRock, State Street. You've been investigating all of this, and I know that you have investigated and launched investigations into BlackRock as well as MSCI. Have you heard back from these companies on their role in all of this?
We have. We are still engaged in a back and forth in terms of getting answers to the questions we posed. I also want to highlight the great work that folks like Roger Robinson have done in exposing this issue and in testifying before our committee. The next step to me is clear, though this is a complex issue. We need to legislate a lasting solution to this issue. The Biden executive order is not enough. It didn't go far enough, and it's an executive order. So it's inherently impermanent. So Congress needs to step up and put in place sensible guardrails on outbound capital flows so that we do not continue to subsidize our own destruction. We do not continue to allow Americans to invest in companies that are building aircraft carriers, fighter jets, artillery shells, advanced nuclear technology, because that's what's happening right now. It's time to take off our golden blindfolds and protect ourselves from growing CCP aggression.
And corporate America, I think, has figured out that you are the new sheriff in town on this issue. A new report says that Disney laid off about 300 employees in its Beijing office ahead of a meeting between you and the CEO Bob Iger. Disney told the Wall Street Journal that the layoffs were part of an ongoing cost-saving initiative and not related. How was that meeting, and do you believe that he tried to clean house before you showed up?
I don't know the truth of the matter. I'll say this for Bob Iger. He is a Packers fan, so he's got that going for him, though we have a slightly different view of China. The broader issue with Hollywood and with the entertainment industry is this. It's the censorship they're forced to do by the CCP if, for example, they want to get a movie played in China. Actually, it's bigger than that. It's the self-censorship that the studios and Disney do because they know in order to get access to the Chinese market, they don't want to anger anyone in the party structure. And so you've seen a lot of examples of Disney or Hollywood in general or the NBA doing things designed to silence anything that could be problematic for the Chinese Communist Party, which I think angers a lot of Americans. Now, I'm not saying we need to decouple theme parks because that's a national security issue, but I am saying companies like Disney need to be realistic about the systemic risk of expanding your presence in China and getting into bed with the CCP as your business partner, because those risks are really mounting and growing more acute.
Yeah, let me end with this $9 billion Syngenta IPO, roaring down the tracks, doing well in Shanghai with two PLA-tied U.S.-sanctioned parent companies. These companies have already been sanctioned, although American banks are actually part of the deal. Obviously, Wall Street wants in on big, hot IPOs. They're there. Should this be permitted by Congress?
No, it goes back to the point I made earlier about our need to legislate a lasting solution. You know, one thing I've heard from major asset managers and bank CEOs who obviously disagree with my more hawkish position on China is that more than anything else, they just want predictability. They want to transition into the new legal regime, and which is why Congress needs to actually solve this problem. We can't bounce wildly back and forth between different administrations, different executive orders. We have to put out clear guardrails, red lines, and communicate to Wall Street, the financial industry, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do. And again, just be clear-eyed about what happens when you do business in China.
So do they not understand the national security risk then, Congressman?
I think there's a tendency on Wall Street to discount the likelihood of something like Xi Jinping trying to invade Taiwan, which from my perspective as a military defense intelligence guy, that likelihood seems to be going up and up. Or if nothing else, one of the lessons of Ukraine is that if dictators tell you they're going to invade a country, even if that seems outlandish from a Western perspective, you have to take that seriously. So when I have a major asset manager come into my office and tell me that the likelihood of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan is 0, my jaw drops to the floor, because I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's a non-zero probability that we have to take seriously.